I'm at the top of the grandstand above the famous Paddock Hill Bend on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. We're here for round 5 of the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship. It's been a fascinating season, not least of all because some of the world-class runners have not attended some of the races. They've been away on World Championship duty. That's left the field clear for others to score massive points. There have been some very big highs, but there have also been some really big lows. Let's take a look at some of the action so far this season. Brands Hatch was where it all started, and what a terrific day we had in prospect. And from the word go, with a massive grid, a full grid, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence made clear their intention, but of course with two former world champions pressing hard on their heels, Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes being the first of those hitting the front at Druids. The Birchells were there in third, pushing hard on the number 16 outfit. It was never going to be easy for Roger Lovelock. Andy Peach also gave him a bit of a dressing down. Reeves and Birchells side by side. Local lad Ben Holland and Lee Watson. Lee Watson fell out of the chair here last season, doesn't want to repeat that. Reeves spun out in the early stages, leaving the field clear for others, and that's one of the big lows I was talking about. Ben Holland, Lee Watson on the roof again. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence had made the canny choice of slicks, and as the race wore on, they came through unbelievably to take the win against the others who had made a more conservative choice. A victory then for race 1, Roger Lovelock. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, what a fantastic way to begin an 18-race season, Roger.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, what a way to start a season, you know, first, brilliant.
It was very murky for the start of race 2, and there'd been all sorts of problems here with the solos, one of which had blown up and dumped oil all the way around the circuit. It was still raining hard, and at 4:30 in the afternoon, the organisers literally called on the sidecars to save the day, both from a spectator point of view and a television point of view. And what a show they gave them. Tim Reeves and the Birchells. Reeves actually was coming from further down the order because of his spin. He'd not made it onto the first or second rows, so he had to push hard. Reuterholt, Edwards and John Clark had a bit of a coming together. Everybody trying as hard as they could in extremely difficult conditions. Scott Laurie took a look at the beach, made it back onto the track though, narrowly missing an outfit coming through. Reeves and Hawes, though, now having got it together, pushed harder and harder and harder. Lovelock was denied a victory in this race, but that did not detract from his effort. Reeves and Hawes took the victory. Race 2 then went to the local man.
Yeah, from the 4th row, I knew I was going to have to get the jump off the line, and when you're back there, you're a bit more relaxed, believe it or not. When you're in the front row, you're a bit more tensed up, and I got real good drive, and I nearly led into paddock, so just got real good drive, and Ashley done a fantastic job. What a brilliant start to a career for him with me, and yeah, excellent job by him. One of the fastest circuits on the calendar, Thruxton in Hampshire, was always going to be good because the World Championship runners were not here. So with local man Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence up for grabbing maximum points, the guy at the other end of the spectrum, Scott Laurie, all the way down from Scotland, wanted to spoil their party. It's also home ground for Ben Holland and Lee Watson, and it was those three who provided all of the front running in the early stages of race 1. Laurie hitting the lead at the chicane. That chicane actually proved to be the scene of much drama as the day unfolded. Many a crew were to pay the ultimate price there and get caught out as they come in braking hard. Ben Holland's turn to lead the pack, Roger Lovelock's turn to lead the pack, and that's how race 1 went. Further down the order, Barry James, Callum Lawson, Johan Reuterholt, Aki Alto were duelling hard with Mark Edwards and Lee Barrett. As the flag fell, Lovelock won it from Holland, and unbelievably on the podium, Mark Edwards. Great.
For some reason we were sticking with them all around the, you know, the twisty bits and all that, but we were sort of being left out, dragged down the back straight, so I thought stick with them, and we did, and we got past them, and yeah, we took the checkered flag again. Brilliant.
Took the checkered flag again, he did, and they had every chance of doing it again from pole position at the start of the second race. Ben Holland and Lee Watson, with poor Scott Lorry making play fast from the back of the grid because he'd had a problem in race one and played catch-up and did that remarkably quickly. It was, though, a race of attrition on passengers. Rob Wilson bailed out of Steve Kershaw's outfit. Passengers are never happy with themselves when they do that. But Reuterholt was really flying. He showed his potential. The Swedish-Finnish pairing going very well. Another passenger to come out of Kyle Young's outfit. Up on his feet, he was okay, but this was the battle then for second and third. Scott Lorry and James Neve away. Here we are, number 72. Ben Holland, Lee Watson pushing. Away in the distance, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. And this was the battle for the final step on the podium. And who would it go to? As Lovelock and Lawrence came up for the checkered flag. The battle for third was unbelievable. Keep your eyes peeled, folks, because it went the way of Johan Reuterholt and Aki Aalto. Unbelievable, but a double win for Lovelock.
Well, you go to the next round with a great big target on your back. Yeah. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I can imagine so, yeah, because Tim and Ben and all the rest of them are certainly going to be pointing their bullets at us, no doubt about that.
The sun shone in Norfolk, and it was a wonderful, huge crowd that witnessed the first race, with Barry James and Callum Lawson getting the best of their qualifying. That pairing getting very good. York Steinhausen and Greg Clues were left languishing in about 5th place at the start. Ben Holland, Lee Watson still looking for that elusive victory, made good the early running though. York Steinhausen and Greg Clues were one of the first to fall victim on the sharp turns here, spinning out but rejoined the race. At the front though, it was daggers drawn between these two, renewing their dueling of Thruxton. Anxious to repeat his Thruxton podium, Johan Reuterholt went in a bit too hot trying to pass Gary Smith. That was the outcome. Passenger underneath, but both rider and passenger were okay. Back at the front and at the sharp end, Lovelock and Lawrence got the hammer down again, and once they'd got their noses in front, it was left for Barry James and York Steinhausen to scrabble for the consolation prize, as it were. But these two, checkered flag, almost neck and neck. Another Lovelock win, methinks.
I'm in it to win races, and if we give entertainment to the crowd, well, I hope they enjoy it. Well, we certainly do anyway, but yeah, it's all good entertainment, you know. Great stuff.
Race 2, would it be a rematch? Steinhausen and James started alongside each other on the second row, but it was normal service resumed at the front with Holland and Lovelock dueling. Steinhausen, though, was eager for more, and in doing so, put in an aggressive move on Barry James and Callum Lawson, punting them into a concrete wall. It could have been a lot worse, but it was a big enough crash in any case, virtually destroying the bike. Roger Boddy and Carl Schofield came in with a mechanical problem. The pace, though, very, very frantic. Huge speeds generated here at Snetterton. The circuit clearly favouring the BMW of Jorg Steinhausen as he moved through into the lead. A frustrated Roger Lovelock punted him, so he was out of the action. Steinhausen went on to take the checkered flag. The victory, however, was handed to Scott Lorry because of the earlier incident with Steinhausen on Barry James.
We did get a bad exit out of the Oggie's right-hander, and Jorg got a better drive, pulled alongside, and instead of staying on the inside line for the corner, came across and snapped the steering at, well, it looks like it's broke the steering, and then fired us into a solid concrete wall.
The highs and lows I refer to could also apply to the weather, because Knockhill was very damp and cold. It had been preceded by a week's rain, and the action, though, from the sidecars, every bit as riveting as usual, despite the adverse track conditions. From the outset, John Clark and Stuart Graham collided with Aki Aalto and his driver Reuterholt, both of them ending up in the gravel. At the front, Scott Lorry, local man with a point to prove, duelled with Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes. The battle for fourth, though, was absolutely electric, with ramming and charging about all over the place. It was Barry James in the white outfit, Ben Holland, Phil Bell having his one outing, and Ben Bygrave. Ben Holland, though, was desperate to make amends after Snetterton, but it wasn't to be. Reuterholt a lap adrift. Holland and James continued their struggle. At the front, it was still Tim Reeves, and he by now was some 8 seconds clear, looking every bit the champion he is. Ben Holland pushing hard, unbelievably at the hairpin, spun it, allowing Barry James to go through.
Yeah, couldn't be better, could it? We've come here full of confidence, and it showed in their riding. We just, yeah, can't seem to do anything wrong at the minute. Hopefully, touch wood, it will keep going.
Race 2 always promised to be a good one again, with Laurie lining up alongside Tim Reeves. Tim Reeves hit the front from the word go. Lovelock slotted a third. Phil Bell, number 8, put in a great performance again in race 2, but was no match for the flying Tim Reeves. Clark and Graham were another pairing to put it on the roof. There have been a number of those so far this season at this point, and the battle, though, frantic between Phil Bell and Barry James, who was having something of a very polished season. We saw how quick Barry James was at Brands Hatch in the opening race last year, but this year he seemed to have steadied down, but still delivering good quality performances. Bell, desperate to find some sponsorship, was carrying a for sale notice on his bike. Lovelock and Laurie, their old battle-scarred outfits, they know what they're doing, this pair. They've come together so often, but Scott Laurie, with a lot of local people here, went down across the gravel, almost collecting Rick Lawrence on the way down. But as he lapped the tail enders, it was Tim Reeves with Ashley Hawes to take the checkered flag from Roger Lovelock and Scott Laurie. A double win then for the Kentish man.
Got his head in gear and gelled together, really. It's what makes the team. You have a happy team and everything comes together with the riding and more track time. So no, it's been an awesome ride. That's why he's 3 times world champion. And I don't know, it's just everything comes together like it did here, to be honest.
Well, a massive lead at this point in the season for Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. Ben Holland, though, looking strong on 111. Scott Laurie, James and Lawson, and you can see the price the World Championship runners pay. Reeves there in 5th. Birchall's in 11th. 40 points, that's the only race they contested, the opening one at Brands. Everybody else gathered a few points, and it's good to see the season looking so strong early on. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charlwood, the newcomers, 1 solitary point. At first glance, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence appeared to be running away with the championship, sitting there on 156 points. But the battle for second place could not be closer between Ben Holland and Scott Laurie. Just 4 points separate those two, so it's all to play for. Like I said, we're only at the halfway stage of the season, so there's a lot coming up later in the year. There's even more coming up after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's filling up here. The crowds are flooding in, obviously, in anticipation of a good day's racing. The weather could not be better. Track conditions are perfect. And on the subject of the track, let's have a look at this very fast, very complex Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. From the rider's point of view, it's fast. Take a look at this. Right, as you come over the line here at Brands, one of the scariest corners in motorcycle racing anywhere in the world is Paddock Hill Bend. It drops away. You can't see the apex. 4th, 5th gear. Then you rocket up the hill towards Druids, coming back down the gearbox into 2nd, throwing the outfit round, hooking a gear here. 3rd, down the hill in 3rd, holding 3rd, back to 2nd for Graham Hill Bend, along the Cooper Straight. Hardly a straight because it's bearing left all the time, and then into Surtees. Surtees again, a rising left-hander, drifts away onto the concrete rumble curb. The fastest part of the circuit under Pilgrim's Drop, under the bridge, Top gear, 160 miles an hour here to Hawthorn. Back 1 to 5th. Hawthorn bend. Powering, powering, powering. Just hook 6th maybe, or hold 5th on the red limiter. Westfield, this is a 5th gear bend round Westfield. Dropping away down through Dingle Dell towards the right-hander of Sheen Curve. We're at it now. Through the intermediate speed trap to Stirling's, the left-hander. Second gear Stirling's. Third. Driving away in the sunshine under the bridge, hooking 4th. This is coming into the stadium area. Clearways, 4th gear, holding it round. The front's trying to go over there to the gravel. Keep it powered. Hook 5th across the start-finish line, 135 miles an hour. What a cracking lap. It's time for our spotlight feature. If you watch the Knock Hill rounds, you'll see that Carol McBride talked at length to Ben Holland and Lee Watson about their F1 Racing LCR. This year, into the championship from Sweden came Johan Reuterholt with his Finnish passenger Aki Aalto. And what's more, he came into the championship with a bang. He is quick. Even more amazingly, he's paralysed from the waist down. So how on earth does he race an F1 sidecar outfit given that handicap? Carol is about to find out.
Hi Johan, nice to see you. First thing I noticed that you've turned up this weekend with a bright new paint job on the bike.
Yeah, I pretty much had to. We had a turnover at Snetterton, so it was a bit scratched and didn't look that good. So Mr. Scott Laurie and Brian Nicol helped us to paint the bike while I was at home. Brilliant.
I mean, the paint job is not the only thing that's different about the bike, is it? The chassis is completely different, and you've made a number of changes to it. Can you talk us through that, please?
Yeah, of course. It's when I started to drive, I really didn't know how well I'm going to turn out with modification and adapting the bike to myself. So I chose to go with an art that a friend of mine made in Sweden, and we started to work together about developing a bike. And it's quite a standard bike, being an art then. And gears was quite easy. I got hold of a guy in England called Roy Tansley.
Yeah.
He's been doing the TT and had a system that worked. So I bought one of them from him. And later on I've redeveloped that a little bit. And braking-wise took quite a long time to get it right. Obviously you're both developing parts and your own driving at the same time. But in the end, I've just had this ordinary radial pump that you have on stock bikes, turned it around so I do have the strongest fingers further out on the lever, so I got as strong as possible with it. And then the rest of the brake system is quite normal to any other LCR or sidecar. It's just that the pedal is substituted with a single slave hydraulic system. It affects a bit of my driving with not being able to brake and give gas at the same time. So my kind of riding is a bit like I have to do the braking and then grab the gas and go into the corners. While some other drivers tend to, I don't know what you call, left the brake a bit into the corner. You have to have gas and brake on at the same time.
Yeah.
That's one of my weak spots.
Well, I don't think it seems to hamper you too much. I mean, you've certainly been getting very good results. So you talked a bit about the gear change. So is that operated by your a thumb? So it's a button change?
Yeah, on my left handlebar I got 2 buttons, one up and one down. And going up, I just need to keep full throttle or whatever throttle I want. Just push the button, and it's very quick. It's quicker than the things with the other drivers do with their feet, and it works well.
And one of the things that we looked at with Ben last week was we quite often get asked how the drivers actually sit in there, but you still sit in terms of the conventional thing with your feet facing backwards.
Yeah, I sit like any other person does. The thing I have a belt with just Velcro locking on it, sitting around my bottom.
Yeah.
So because I can't really work with my legs, so under braking, especially downhill braking, tends to lift my bottom out of the bike a bit. So it's not sitting hard. It's just that I'm staying in the bike and feel the bike a bit better. It's not gonna keep me from falling out or anything. It's a nice feeling. It's massively important to like get comfy on the bike, get support on your chest, so you can have the arms free and like maneuver it in as smooth as possible.
And how have you found this circuit this weekend? Because this is the first time you've been on the GP circuit, is it?
Yeah, we did the Indy circuit on the first race. So yesterday was the first free practice on the Grand Prix one, and it's really an awesome circuit. I made the best out of it, did full 15 laps, and getting there. It's hard to just in 15 laps get the right amount of speed around the fast bends, but I'm not on the front row anymore, so I have a few guys to follow, and I think that's going to solve it.
One of the most hands-on sidecar drivers in the paddock is Mark Edwards of Edwards Racing. We're standing in front of something very green. It's obviously a Kawasaki. Mark's been campaigning this Kawasaki now for 2 seasons. This is your 2nd season. Last year was very much a teething year. This year, you're on the pace, but even then, it's been a tough year.
Yeah, we had to miss Knockhill at Snetterton. The engine's got so much power, it just twisted itself out the chassis, basically. So we went to Switzerland, same miss Knockhill. We used one of my sponsors, J-Hire. We used one of their vans, lent it to us, saved some money. And yeah, had to go over there and get it sorted. So still some niggly problems this weekend, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and even overnight, you know, we had a race on Friday. Here we are, race day on Sunday. But even Saturday night, you were charging back off down almost to the West Country to repair the exhaust and then back again. I mean, it's hard.
It is, yeah, but when we run on such a small budget, you know, we're a small team, family team. The sponsors we got are mainly friends. We've got, you know, Audley Woods, hand-picked hotels to help us out with bits and pieces. Yeah, so you have to do stuff yourself. You know, it's just needs must, really.
Now on the Grand Prix circuit, you've got the race ahead of you. Lee, your passenger's fit and very much up for it. Are you optimistic about the race?
Well, we're starting at the back because of Friday. You know, we didn't finish, so we can only go forwards.
That is, if I may say so, that's your optimistic way all the way down the piece. You're never down in the dumps, whatever happens.
Well, you know, I've never let nothing beat me yet, so you just got to keep going, haven't you?
Well done, Mark. Have a good race and good luck. Hope somebody writes you a big cheque one of these days.
Oh, that'd be a dream. That'd be nice. Thanks.
We've been here at Brands Hatch since Friday. It seems forever. The sun's out now, so it's not been too bad. But Friday we had a race. It was a short sprint race. The result was unbelievable. A new name to me, I have to confess. Maybe not a new name for regular sidecar viewers. Certainly a man who's been round the scene a long time. Sean Hegarty took that race, passengered by Callum Lawson, a name you do know. Sean, unbelievable. You must be thrilled to be back and back with a bang.
It was 4 years since a good proper race, so yeah, just come back and it was all unexpected, really. It's good fun.
Fantastic. I mean, how did it come about? How are you here? Halfway through the season, you come back and you beat everybody in the championship.
It was just a bit like, we was at East Fortune the other week and my brother's got some family commitments and he decided, you know, he doesn't want to do it anymore. Callum and his driver had obviously parted company, so I just rang him up on the off chance if he wanted to come and do the Ossersleben in a few weeks. And I rang him back at 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon, said, what about Brands? By 3 o'clock we're here. We've ended, we're in, and on Thursday night we're here, so it's that quick.
It really was that quick, and what does it feel like? First time you team up with a guy like this, you're there on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, what can you say to him? He's world class, and he's always been at the top when he was about, and he's always had a good name in sidecar racing. He's one of the best, isn't he? So I couldn't really turn the ride down when he offered me it.
One of the best. Double British champion, am I right in saying?
Yeah, and yeah, down 7th in the world twice when I was doing my stuff before. So yeah, 4 years layoff, and now we're sort of back into it, and yeah, do some more.
Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, you start today's race from the front row, courtesy of a fantastic podium, a runner-up spot in Friday's sprint race. That was some race, though, wasn't it, Roger?
Yeah, it's just a shame it wasn't televised. It was a cracking race. We chopped and changed for first place. We dropped back to second place, and then again it was the same for third place. We were chopping and changing for that and the lead. It was awesome. It's just a shame that we just couldn't take the checkered flag on the win. But no, we held on to second place. You know, it was push, push, push all the way. And yeah, again, it's, as I say all the time, it's just points in the bag. Sean won it. He's not in the championship or, you know, contention in the championship at the moment. Although, you know, he's on about thinking about doing some more races later on in the year, so it could be a threat. But no, we are here to preserve our points, bring it home safely.
You've done exactly that. Your championship lead is still strong, Rick. But it shows that, you know, you're not totally dominant. They're chipping away at you, aren't you? And you're there to be beaten.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've said it all along when everybody's come up to us, is there are still 6 bikes out there. If you look at the times they put in yesterday, and some people are stronger on the long circuit than the short circuit, and different circuits accordingly, there's still 6 people out here that have either been on the podium last year or are capable of getting on the podium on their day, and they're all up for winning. You know, we are the target, I suppose. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be an awesome race hopefully again today. But yeah, we've just got to chip away a little bit and try and. It's a bit early to say you've got to try and be sensible, but unfortunately we kind of have really. We've put ourselves in this position. Now we're to be shot at, and we've got to be sensible really.
Friday's race on the Indy circuit was indeed a cracking race, one of the best races we've had this season so far. The bad news is we had no television cameras here on Friday to capture it, but nonetheless that doesn't detract from a brilliant podium and third place for Scott Laurie and James Neave. Scott, it was a ding-dong tussle all the way through that race, wasn't it?
It was indeed. It was anybody's race up into the very end. We unfortunately got caught behind the back marker going into Paddock Hill Bend and couldn't reply after that. So we ended up third. It's a good race.
That was on the Indy circuit. Today's race, of course, will be on the big circuit. Do you have a preference? Which one do you like best?
GP circuit's so much better. Longer, faster. It's just a completely different track from the Indy circuit. It's just an awesome circuit to go around in a sidecar.
James, close as I say, the top 3, very little to separate you all the way through the race, and a lot of passing and repassing. This man Hegarty who took the win, did he surprise you?
Definitely not. We knew he'd be there or thereabouts, so we just had to go for it really and try and hang on to the back of him and maybe go for a last-ditch attempt to overtake him. But obviously, like Scott said, the back marker come into play, and it just pulled a bit of a gap, and then that's it really.
Well, it's race time here, so let's all smilingly have a look at the grid. Formed, of course, from the result of Friday's race. Lovelock, Hegarty on pole. That's the front row. Peach and Laurie across row 2. Then it's John Clark, Stuart Graham and Reuterholt. Row 4, Holland, Ben Bygrave, the 2 Bens, not Bill and Ben and Ben. Horsepole and Biggs, Chaplow. Then Carol McBride having a ride out with Ian Guy this week at Brands. Row 7, Brian Gray, Guy Pawsey and young Steve Kershaw with Rob Wilson. Then it's Boddy, Drown, Edwards there, and the final one, Gary Smith and Shelley Smith is Lady Passenger. Well, the race then is coming up. Brilliant crowd in the sunshine here. We're going to take a short break, then we go racing.
Welcome to the grid for the race. It's late in the afternoon. You can see the sun is very low, but it's been extremely hot all day. Back there on row 4, forming up, number 60, Ben Holland. Qualified, well, came through to 8th after the sprint race. He stalled it on the line, so he's got a bit of work to do, but he came from the back in the first race. Scott Laurie's here on the second row. We've already spoken to him. He expects big things. Andy Peach, Charlie Richardson there. Getting to the front row, series leader by a country mile, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence on the Two Wheels TV sponsored, very nice 49 green Driver Wolf outfit here. But our pole position man, unbelievably, new man to the series, new man to me, winner of the first race, Sean Hegarty.
Well, it just goes to show, doesn't it? The World Championship runners might be away, but we've still got talent by the bucket load here at Brands Hatch. Sean Hegarty then, a win in race 1. What can he do this time on a completely different circuit, I remind you? They're not on the Indy circuit. Oh, it's a bit of pushing and shoving there already. Roger Lovelock made a move up the inside, but Hegarty was having none of that. Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson lead. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence. I can see right at the back of the field, Mark Edwards and Lee Barrett on the Kawasaki, and of course much further down, starting from the back, Gary Smith and Shelley Smithies. This then, the second place, Lovelock and Lawrence. hot in pursuit. And Heggie's up the inside already. Lovelock and Lawrence have gone through. That was a quick dive up the inside at Surtees. They're ahead. So heading out then towards Hawthorne Bend. Under the bridge we go. Oh, there's Hegarty's nose coming up alongside 160 miles an hour. Lovelock on the brakes, though, at Hawthorne, denied him the opportunity. Sprinting along to Westfield, you can see it now. Look at Scott Lorry hunting as well in fourth. Andy Peach in third, with Charlie Richardson doing the business, holding down the wheel. Ben Bygrave and Paul Napton in the yellow helmeted BMW, the number 74 build-based BMW. Look how fast they are here, these outfits, in the sunshine, and so colourful. Those top 8 then breaking away. Lovelock, Hegarty, Peach into the stadium area. Then it's Scott Lorry. Gary Smith and Shelley Smith is starting from the back, are already making their way through. There you can see Reuter Holt is in 6th. 7th, we've got Clark Graham. Ian Guy, Carol McBride in 8th. A brilliant start for them. Up to 10th already, Gary Smith. So read the caption, I'll watch the action. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence. Look at Sean Hegarty. This man, former double British champion, has ridden for 20 years. Let's have a look at the start. Hegarty's on the left. We're riding with Lovelock. Up towards Paddock Hill Bend, right across the front. No way through there, Roger. Absolutely no way through there. Let's have a look then from the back of the grid. Gary Smith and Shelley Smithies. Back of the grid because they had misfortune on first race on Friday. They've already nobbled 2. Round the outside again, going well. So big things expected then of Gary Smith with Shelley on board. The top 3 now. Scott Lorry has firmly put his colours to the mast in this race. Scott Lorry and James Neve, number 72, in 3rd place. In 2nd place, Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson. Callum's father, John Lawson, in the road planning and tarmac business, basically got these boys here this weekend. He made it possible financially for them to ride. Wow, what terrific stuff was that? Was that Rod Robinson or Kershaw, the blue outfit, diving across there as Gary Smith cut back inside? I remember commentating on a race at Mallory Park when Gary Smith was on a Yamaha-powered F2, and that's further back than I care to remember. Now I'm enjoying watching the F1s, working with the F1s and commentating on the F1s, because the world of sidecar racing has elevated itself in the last 2 or 3 seasons to become one of the spectacles on the motorcycle racing calendar. These 2 guys have played no small part in that, Lovelock and Lawrence. And Hegarty, this man, I say, burst into this race weekend. Took me by storm, that's for sure. And he is going to be... Hello, Ben Holland is in the pits. What went wrong?
What's happened? Right, try red, mate.
Ben was nearly in tears. Very, very emotional, Ben Holland. That is so frustrating because they're 2nd place in the championship, now looking decidedly shaky. Ben Holland and Lee Watson having their share and more of bad luck in the 2012 season, and they are such a talented pairing. Let's hope they get it sorted then for next time out. Meanwhile, these 3 well away now on lap 3 of 10. Lovelock, Hegarty. Is it going to be another victory for the Marlborough man? We shall see. Oh no, another retirement. Bill-based BMW in, so Ben Bygrave and Paul Napton. We saw a couple of retirements from that bike in the early stages of the season, but it's been getting better and better and certainly becoming more reliable. But it's out, so nothing happening in race 2 for Bygrave and Napton. But everything happening in race 2 for Lovelock and Lawrence and Hegarty and Lawson. They're going to swap paint in a minute. Are they up the inside? They're certainly looking as though they're desperately making a bid. Heads down, Laurie and James Neve going with them as well. So these 3 not yet at half race distance. You can see the gap. nearly 6/10 of a second. I'm getting very croaky in this. I've had a bit of a rough throat all weekend, and it's nearly costing me my voice, folks, so stick with it. Paul Napton's on pit wall.
What was the problem? The engines don't want to play anymore.
It's mechanical, yeah?
Yeah, I think the air gasket's gone.
Oh dear.
Cheers, mate. So we're getting another one put in it for Donington and try again.
You can see the disappointment on these lads. First Ben Holland and then Paul Napton. He's the more vocal one of the duo. Ben Bygrave, a self-confessed man of few words, but sheer abject disappointment written all over the face of Paul Napton. Not so. I wonder what's written all over the face of Roger Lovelock. Probably deep concern, and well might he be deeply concerned, because he's got two F1 sidecar outfits climbing all over the back of him. The most dangerous at the moment, the number 33 in the shape of Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson. And it's a Suzuki trio. They're all on Suzukis. Laurie's Suzuki is always so fast, as indeed is Roger Lovelock's, but certainly the bike that Sean Hegarty, let me tell you, that is the 2009 Birchall Brothers World Championship winning bike, so that explains everything. And he's looking up the inside. Oh, is there a way through? Half distance here. No, but certainly they're getting closer. They're beginning to drop away now. We're back with Gary Smith, another one who benefited from the wallet of John Lawson. He paid for his fuel to get him here and put some tyres on the bike. So he's moving up the order here. Hang on a minute. I reckon he's in the top 6. That's terrific. But at the front, it's absolutely frantic. It's half race distance. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away, you'll miss it. Well, I've been to World Superbike races here when we've had crowds bigger than this, but I tell you, this is a big crowd, an awful lot of people watching this fantastic sidecar entertainment. They are growing in popularity, they are growing in a spectacle, and Hegarty and Lovelock are absolutely delivering a fizzing race round here. There's the gap, 0.1 of a second. It's visual, it's less than a sidecar outfit. Well, Laurie now is making his intentions clear. On lap 6, Scott Laurie and James Neve. This is anybody's race, I have to say, because Lovelock and Lawrence at the front are being pressured. Look at the way the sidecar wheel kicked up, with James Neve then just anchoring it down as much as he can. We've got contrasting body weight, and that's an understatement with the outfit in front, because Sean Hegarty will admit to being a little bit out of condition, if I can put it in the nicest context. He'll admit to that, whereas Callum Lawson, the passenger, is a sparrow by comparison, and that must really make the passenger work harder to compensate. But Sean Hegarty has vowed to get himself trim, slim and in shape before the next round, and they're off to Oschersleben to contest World Championships. Meanwhile, they've got a job to do here, because Lovelock and Lawrence want to make amends for that defeat in the first race at the hands of Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson. James Neve's head pops down as they come into the stadium area again to complete lap 6. Lovelock's getting away now. It looks as though he's managed to break the toe. The elastic's getting longer, and in doing so, Hegarty is falling back into the clutches of Scott Laurie. But these three, and we're now riding with Roger Lovelock. There's no sign of that outfit of Hegarty's, either the yellow or the purple. If it's going to come, it'll come on the left, I'm sure, down towards Graham Hill. Where do you take it here? Defensively, to shut him out? I would say so. Put the passenger over the rumble strip, along the straight here, and then into Surtees. Still no sign of him, so Roger Lovelock keeping his nose in front, and it's a flawless performance so far. Now then, speed for speed. We know that Hegarty's bike is quick. This is where we could see it, but Lovelock has moved across to the left to give himself a wide sweep and clip the apex of Hawthorne. Through Hawthorne, 6th gear, that's how close they are. They've closed again. They're right on the back, ever threatening, ever present, on lap 7. The man who paid the price for that was Scott Laurie. He's been dropped away just a little bit. And now, oh, Roger Body and Carl Schofield parked. I thought they'd gone into the Armco, but they're parked on the grass. So that is a retirement. The series organizer climbs out. His race is done. Gary Smith and Shelley Smithers are now passing John Clark up into fourth. Fourth from the back of the grid. Can you believe it? Fourth place for Gary Smith. Unbelievable. And Shelley doing a fantastic job up into the lead. Goes Sean Hegarty. It's all nip and tuck here. Lovelock and Lawrence down in second, but fighting back up towards Druids. They've got it again. Well, briefly, Hegarty had the lead, but it was brief. But he's going to come back for more, I tell you. He's going to really, really come back for more. Graham Hill Ben, Lovelock and Lawrence. In comes Brian Gray and Guy Palsy. They've got a problem as well, but they're retiring in the sunshine out of the race at Brands Hatch. Fourth place then, Gary Smith, a big blow up. There's oil from John Clark. Get it off the circuit, John. A big blow up there, that looks terminal. Certainly is. A lot of oil smoke coming out. Stuart Graham's hands in the air. Their race is run. The black and orange flag caption telling you the story. Slippery surface. They deposited oil, they've got to come in. Lovelock then, and Hegarty looking at the inside, just threatening all the time, ever present. Takes unorthodox lines as well. Right, left, you never know which side he's going to go. Now, on the run down towards the stadium area to start the penultimate lap. He's on the inside at Clearways, and he's through. Sean Hegarty moves ahead. That's a brave place to overtake, or in the case of that move, undertake. Hegarty and Lawson. Lovelock and Lawrence looking, they're every bit as quick, but this man is so fast into Paddock Hill Bend. Look at Callum Lawson working. The passenger draped over the back of the bike. He's got a handhold down there to stop himself slipping off the back. Rick Lawrence gets him, so he's a much bigger man, Rick Lawrence. There's also a foothold down by the Sidecar wheel arch, which they press on to push themselves, to lever themselves over the back of the bike. One win already then at Brands Hatch, albeit on the Indy circuit for Sean Hegarty. Is it going to be win number 2, or has Roger Lovelock got something in the bag? Reuterholt in 5th. Gary Smith in 4th. That just takes my breath away. Gary Smith and Shelley Smith is in 4th place from the back of the grid. We are on the penultimate lap. Well, they waited a long time for this race. There was an awful lot of hanging around on Sunday. It's late in the day now, and they waited a long time for it, but I can tell you, nobody has gone off the boil. It certainly doesn't appear that anybody has gone off the boil. They all love this circuit. It's very technical. It gives you a high adrenaline rush. Into the stadium area again, this time over the line. The last lap flag will wave. Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson are going to see that flag. They're on the last lap. Here we go. Final lap then. Just about 2.5 miles to do as they run up to Druids. Leading race 2, it will be the comeback of a lifetime for Sean Hegarty. Not so Callum Lawson, who has parted company with Barry James after a minor disagreement of some form or other, not least of all that John Lawson, of course, financed the running of that outfit. A trip to Germany was all it took to bring that partnership to a head, and Lawson is now freelancing to some effect, I can tell you, with Sean Hegarty. Will this become a permanent partnership? I certainly hope so. They ride well together, they look good together, and they complement each other. You have to say, if you can come out of a 4-year retirement to lead the likes of Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence on a circuit the likes of which we are on today, then you've got a very bright future ahead of you. This is it then. Is Lovelock going to find anything in the closing stages? He's closing, he's getting just that bit closer. The run down then, he's got one more stab. The long way round at Clearways would be the place to do it, but he's not close enough. He is not close enough. It's going to be 20 points for Lovelock and Lawrence, but 25, putting them on to 50 points. Unbelievably, Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson have done the double here at Brands Hatch, putting them on 50 points. Scott Laurie and James Neve come across the line to claim third. That will put them well in second in the title. They loved that, everybody loved that, and I did too. 94.28 miles per hour race speed, and there Rick Lawrence with his handstand. Fantastic stuff. Don't they love it? And well, they should do. Confirmation then, let's have a look. Gary Smith and Shelley Smith is fourth. Hegarty, Lovelock and Laurie are top three. Reuterholt fifth. Good ride by Mark Edwards and Lee Barrett, and an equally good ride, Steve Kershaw. Chaplow, Abbott, Ian Guy, Carol McBride were 10th. 11th, Ian Drown. 12th, Rod Robinson. And there you can see the DNFs. It was something of a race of attrition. Not least of all Ben Holland. That will have cost him dearly in the championship standings. Well, jubilation on the podium. Hegarty, after that comeback, takes the top step alongside Callum Lawson. Well, that's put the cat among the pigeons. There it is then, 196 for Lovelock. Laurie and Neve move into second. Holland now on 119. Needs to improve on that. No one knows that better than he. James, you won't see him around for a while, but he will be back hopefully someday. There we have it then. Hegarty goes straight in at 11th, 50 points for 2 race wins. Birchells, well, they haven't really been here to play, have they? They're on 40. Gary Smith there in 14th, and Shelley Smith is his passenger this weekend. Everybody's got something. Nobody's too disappointed.
Well, you can see it's been a very lucky weekend at Brands Hatch here for some people. Not for me, I have to say, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Terrific racing, great weather. Can't wait till the next round. I'm going to take a short holiday in between. Why don't you chill out too? But we're back for Donington Park. Please join us. It's going to be fantastic there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.